You are listening to PositivePower21.org with Jerry Royce.
What up? It's your boy Kano Kingston.
Hi, this is Angel Sessions.
Hey, this is Pat. Hi, I'm Teresa Powell.
Hi, Jerry. This is Ira Sandro Carter.
Hi, this is Phil Powers.
Hello, this is Teresa Bobby with Jerry Royce Live.
Hi, I'm Philip Barron. I'm live on the Jerry Royce Show.
Hey, what it do? It's your boy Houston Saint.
Peace, this is Dahlia the poet, spoken word artist.
Hello, this is Ramon Marquis with Jerry Royce Live.
All right, everyone. You got Robin Lynn, and I'm keeping it live right now on Jerry Royce Live.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's up? This is a award-winning podcast with the greatest podcast on earth. Thank you for stopping by. I'm your host, Jerry Royce Live Worldwide on Internet Radio, where you get your positive on. So when it's all positive, it's all power. That's positive power. This is a worldwide podcast for growth, wealth, and success. Thank you.
Think you know how drugs get in those little brown bottles? Think again. Set in the green hills of western New Jersey, inside the gilded halls of power of a U.S. pharmaceutical company where decisions are worth billions of dollars and human lives worth less. Nicholas Harding, a young executive at Marshall Pharmaceutical, finds his career, family, and life in jeopardy. The Farmhouse, a suspense thriller novel by Bill Powers, published by Donna Inc. Publications, available at Amazon.com or DonnaInc.org. Go to Bill's webpage at www.authorBillPowers.com.
This is your host,
Are you looking for the next great read?
I am an author, international speaker, certified seminar leader, and practitioner for the Silver Method and the Prime Directive and other techniques. On this show, I talk about how to expand your world thought, exploring the world of positive thinking, law of attraction, and consciousness from many points of view. I intend to share with you information that will enlighten and empower you in your life. I'm here to encourage you to think in the positive and show that miracles can happen. I truly believe that you've been given the power of the word and thought to create the life that you desire. This is a safe haven for discussion. We will entertain questions and ideas that will really open up your world. The thoughts and words and ideas expressed on the show are those of my guest or myself. We do not represent any organization. So please call in at 347-828-8437 when we are on air to ask any questions, or email me at Beverly at commandingyourlife.com. That's Beverly at commandingyourlife.com. This information is in the description of this episode online. So again, welcome and thank you for spending your time with us, and let's start our program. Well, good morning, and I am so glad to be here today. This is a wonderful April the 13th, and today we've got thunderstorms in Dallas and kind of cloudy, but even though the world around you may be a little down or a little cloudy, you have sunshine somewhere around you, sunshine in your heart. I just spent a week in the woods, as I told you last week, and it was a really nice, rejuvenating time for me. I love being out with nature. And so let's do our normal, set our intention for the week, and kind of set our intention for this fabulous show we have today. I've got a great guest that I can't wait to introduce you to. So take a deep breath in and out. Take another deep breath and out. And just relax. And just relax and remember that you are loved and cared for, that you are a magnificent being, and you have been created in the image of the Creator of the universe. And the Creator has loved you and continues to love you and take care of you, and that you are worthy of that love. And this week, we want to create a week that is very productive, filled with joy, filled with learning, and changing our lives, and taking and doing one thing different this week. Smiling at strangers. This week, let's think of one act of kindness each day, a random act of kindness each day that we can do that will bring joy to you as well as the person that you do that act of kindness with. Take another deep breath and relax. And so it is. All right. Well, good. I hope you have a wonderful week. And I just want to tell you about today's guest. Today's guest is Ms. Kiran Patel. And the amazing thing about this young lady is that she has decided to share the story of what has happened to her life and to help others. Well, what happened? She survived a sexual assault and death threat at the age of 25 by accessing that infallible power source that we all have within us, which led to her assailant backing off and walking away. Isn't that amazing? I mean, I talk about the source that we have, this power that we have within us, and she made use of that. And so what she does is she calls for people to live joyfully from their inner power source, create this life based on who they truly are. I mean, their authentic, the term we like to use, authentic self, that person that you are really inside, and be free of the grip of societal expectations without sacrificing your relationship with your loved ones. And doing this, she's reached thousands internationally as a spiritual teacher, a workshop leader, a coach, a speaker, and here's another word, performer. So we'll probably ask her about the performer part. Her dedication to nonviolence and spirituality was powerfully demonstrated at that age of 24. So the experience along with recognizing the pervasiveness of abdicating personal power in more benign everyday situations is the inspiration for her upcoming book, and guess what the title is? Shed Your Shackles, Transforming Victim Consciousness. All right, so she is going to bring her gift of compassionate presence to those who have been in crisis or in crisis. She has helped callers on a crisis line, mothers of young children who were homeless from being left in a domestically violent home by getting out of there, and I commend them for doing that. Working with refugees in India after a wave of religious-based issues. I want you to welcome Kiran to the show. Good morning, Kiran.
Good morning, Beverly. Good morning, everyone else. Wonderful.
Well, good. Yes, I'm so happy to have you. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. And so just kind of talk about what brought you. I mean, I know that the experience was probably, I cannot even imagine how frightening it could be. But you took that experience and used it in your life to help other people. Tell me how that came about. In other words, how did you come to start working in this way?
Yeah. So I think I've always had this sense of there's a place inside that cannot be harmed. There's a place inside that is not part of the circumstances. And when I had that experience, which you so beautifully laid out when I was 24, and I drew upon that place inside, that is my essential source of power, and navigated that situation from that place to where he backed off and I walked away. It was like stuff really worked. It's not just a theoretical concept. And it actually wasn't till much later that I realized, this isn't just something to take for granted. This is something valuable for other people to get to access as well. And so that's where I decided that it's important for me to help people learn the 4 principles that I brought to that situation, and the biggest one of which is, hey, there's a place inside that is, I like to say, it's immune to circumstance. And if we can just reach into that, access it, connect to that, not only can those circumstances not harm us, but we're actually tapping into a deep power that we can then transform those very circumstances that we may have previously getting bent out of shape about.
Okay, so this power. So one of the things that came through my mind on that power is that you showed that power at that time. In other words, fear did not come into play, or did it come into play?
It did come into play. I wish I could say it didn't, but, there was a human experience amidst all of this. And I will say that there's a moment during that episode where it hit me that this is really happening. It's not like the movies where someone's going to come in and rescue me or whatever. And when that landed in me, terror went through. It flooded my whole body. My knees wanted to buckle. I wanted to just melt into a puddle on the floor and just, be a victim. It was like I bought in for a moment that this is happening. I'm a victim. This man has the ability to do whatever he wants on a physical plane, including kill me, and including anything he wants to do sexually, which is what he was threatening. And when that landed in me, I did buy into that. It's like, okay, that's it. I'm a victim. And then, thank God, I remembered a few principles, including that whatever he does on a physical plane, and he does have that power on a physical plane, the real me is not physical. The real me is beyond that, and that he can't access. And I just thank God that I remembered that, because when I remembered that, it's like I was able to root into that and know that I'm not a victim in a deeper way, even though I'd already told myself that. It's like I knew it in a deeper way, and I told myself, don't act like a victim, even though you're feeling terrified and you're feeling all of this other stuff. So then I was able to exercise choice. So from that place of rooting into that power, the real me, that's not any of this, I could then make choices, and so I would scan the situation and identify small little bubbles of choice that I had and took them, because I wasn't a victim. It didn't matter how the circumstance is showing up for me. It could look like a classic victim per any definition, but I decide, and I decided I'm not. And what that meant and what that means is I always have a choice. And often that we have choices in our circumstance that we don't even see because we're so busy identifying as a victim. Mm-hmm. But minimally, we have a choice internally how we show up for ourselves.
That is very powerful. I want to say that you have the power of choice, what you said. You always had the power of choice. And somebody said, but if I didn't do that, he'd kill me. And you went, right? Because you knew that spiritually, and I'm paraphrasing it and I'm making an assumption here, spiritually, that he couldn't hurt you. Am I understanding that right? That on a physical plane, on your physical body, he could do that, but emotionally and physically, you still had a choice.
Yes, that's to use spiritual language, I have dominion in the internal part of my life, and that's the real me. The real me he can't harm, the physical part of me, and so on. And yes, I was hurting emotionally too, fear and whatever else. And so there's that human experience, but there's something still about getting that whatever the pain I may be feeling at a physical level or emotional level even, because even after that there was a lot of emotional pain, but that's not me. It's just been so valuable to get that, wait, yes, that's my human experience, but that's not me. And to have the me show up onto the scene and get, exercise the power that it has to both mitigate the harm that's being done and or heal, whichever, side of that you're in at the moment.
Okay. So, that's some deep things there. So you mentioned 4 things. So let's kind of talk about what those 4 areas are.
Sure.
Okay. So tell me what the 4 are.
I think I touched on most of them. So the one is the big message that I've been just saying here, which is there's a place inside that cannot be harmed. So
number 1.
That to me is the big one.
Okay.
And I think the others kind of flow from that. And the one that flows from that is to not act or identify as a victim. And it's almost like you can't, because if you are accessing that place inside that cannot be harmed, another way that I speak about it is that is our essential power source. It is our essential self. And if that's from where we are acting, that's antithetical to victim consciousness, which is about lack, limitation, disempowerment. And so it kind of follows from that, but still there's something of value to just get that, to see it from that angle as well, so that I'm consciously not acting and identifying as a victim, and then also rooting into that essential power source. So those are 2 of the 4, and sort of also following from that is the point that I'd made about we always have choice. And so when you're coming from this place of power and not a victim consciousness, it's much easier to identify those places of choice, because we're just looking at things through a different filter. When we look at things through a victim consciousness filter, that's it. We think that our well-being is at the mercy of the circumstances, that we do not have choice. So by rooting into this place of power, we're also allowing ourselves to see opportunities where we may not have seen them, and by not identifying as a victim, we're also embodying this power and then finding those choices and taking and exercising those choices. So that's the 3rd piece, is the choice. And the 4th piece is actually a version of the choice in my mind, and that's to humanize. So that's the 4th thing that I did in that situation. And as people may know, that in an assault situation, often the perpetrator, as we tend to call the person who does such things, sees the person that they're doing this to as an object. And so by humanizing, that helps shift that. And so that was something else that I did do by verbalizing certain things that I thought would help humanize me. And also, it's not just humanizing me in his eyes, but I also saw him as human. So there's a way in which I wasn't reacting, I was seeking to not react to him as this monster and this horrible thing. He, after all, is a person who is probably suffering terribly for him to want to do what he was doing and threatening to do and so on. So speaking to that part of him. And so that's the fourth principle, is to evoke my own humanity and evoke the humanity in the other, and you can substitute divinity for humanity as well.
All right. Well, those are some very good points. Now, tell us a little bit about your work that you're doing now.
Yeah. So this is what I do. I feel like that we live in a culture where we tend to look outside of ourselves for our well-being. And I feel like the source within is so overlooked. And so I just know that when we connect to this place inside that cannot be harmed, that is our essential power source, and it's in each of us, not just in some of us, it's in each of us, that when we do that we can be more fulfilled, we can live more joyfully, we can live more powerfully, we can transform our situations and circumstances. So my work is centered around helping connect people to that and then navigating from that place of their essential power source within. And I do that through one-on-one coaching sessions, through workshops, through speaking. And hopefully I'm going to bring in the performance piece, which you mentioned.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, okay. Well, I like to refer to that inner power, that inner source, as the power and presence of God inside of us, the power and presence of the Creator inside of us, because I talk about that's where that power comes from, that we're all given, because we all have a little piece of that power, as you said. All right, so you do it through one-on-one coaching and through workshops and through speaking engagements and that kind of stuff. Now, how has this kind of impacted the people that you work with or you've spoken with? What kind of feedback do you get?
So, just to give you sort of a smattering about that, I think you mentioned when you're offering my bio that I worked with survivors of domestic violence, and they were homeless from having left their domestic violence situation, and actually with small children in the particular program I was working with. And I basically called that forth, this place inside of them that is not a victim, that is not harmed, and basically believed in them and that until they could do that for themselves. And they went on to get jobs, have a nice, safe home for themselves and their children. So that's one sort of tangible way. And then another example would be with my coaching clients one-on-one that I do. I've worked with people who've had really important dreams that they've just locked up inside of their hearts for a very long time, and they've just been following the prescription, the society's prescription, and doing whatever it is that society says that they should be doing and not honoring their dreams. And by the work that I've done with them, they have accessed that power, the clarity, the fortitude from within to honor their dreams, to go for it. And it's not just that they're fulfilling their dreams, they're actually feeling more alive. I think there's a part of us that feels kind of half dead when we don't honor that authentic self within that wants to blossom, and we just sort of cover it up with and displace it with what society wants us to do. So I've got, somebody who's just going. I've got a number of people who have just gone for their dreams. I've got someone else who has kept a long, dark secret for a number of years about his marriage ending, and now he's free. There's a lot of energy that goes into holding back our authentic selves and holding back our dream. There's a ton of energy. And so not only are you honoring that,
it shows up in all kinds of areas of your life, not just in one, right? Relationships, work, illness, right, can come from that. So there's a lot of ways that it shows up and can be detrimental to that person, yeah?
Yeah, so all that energy gets freed up and it gets to get directed to living a more fulfilling life.
All right, well, fantastic. Now, is there a simple practice or something that you can offer our listeners that they can do and institute rather easily?
Yeah, there's actually a number of practices, and I can pick something on the simpler side, and just to kind of lead into it, before leading into it, rather, just to offer a bit of a context. So again, we're trying to access this part of ourselves that is immune to our circumstances. So it's not part of our circumstances, and the one aspect of that place inside of us is our awareness. So there's that faculty of awareness within us that always just is, that whatever else is going on, we have that awareness that's not affected. So I like to think of it kind of using an analogy of a movie that might be playing on a movie screen, and, we may be sitting in the audience watching this movie. And you know how sometimes you can watch a movie and it's very engrossing and we get caught up in it and we feel like it's, we're in it and this stuff is really happening, the tornado and the fire and the chase and the shooting and the whatever. So, but if we can shift into awareness and just shift into being a witness, and that witnessing can just be, well, wait, there's a movie screen and there's just light, and that's all that is really happening. There's not, not actual fire, or that I'm, just aware of the body. Oh, here I am. I'm not in that scene, and to exercise awareness. So let me just, this is all very abstract the way I'm talking about it now, but we can just practice this now for like a minute or two. Would that be okay?
No, we're running out of time. So basically,
maybe I can just offer it.
Yeah.
So for folks who are listening, you can just do a simple practice. Just close your eyes and pick something to be aware of. The breath is a good one, or just the body, and just notice. Just notice what's happening in your breath or your body, whether it's an inhalation or exhalation. And then after a few moments, shift to noticing the awareness itself. Who is that that's being aware? And whoever that is closer to who the real you is. That's that place inside that cannot be harmed.
Yes, that thing where you're paying attention, but then you go, who am I? Or who are these thoughts coming from? Or just ask very simple questions of understanding. And another term that's being used a lot these days is mindfulness. Be mindful of what's going on around you. A lot of times, even if we're driving, we are thinking of other things, and it's time, with your kids, just stop, don't do anything, and just listen, or be engaged. And that's also another example. So, yes, our time is really coming to a close at this time, and it just amazes me. Time flies so quickly. So tell our listeners how they can learn more about you and get engaged with you.
Yeah, a couple resources for folks. One is the blog post that you invited me to offer. Emotions are one of those areas that often hijack us from our power source. So that blog is all about how to have your emotions without them having you. And if you go to the end of that blog post, there's also a link for a free video gift, Harnessing the Power of Your Emotions in 3 Simple Steps. So that's a gift for the listeners.
Yeah, and that blog post is on commandingyourlife.com. All right, commandingyourlife.com, and it's in the description of the episode today. Okay, and the other thing?
Yeah, and I also I like to work one-on-one with people so we can zero in on their personal situation. And so I offer freedom and fulfillment consultations. Normally they're valued at $250, but I wanted to offer this as a complimentary gift to your listeners who sign up by the end of this week, by this Friday. And they can just sign up for that complimentary consultation, freedom and fulfillment consultation, at my website, and that is www.shedyourshackles.com. So that's SHED.
Yes, and I love that number.
YOUR. It's in the SHA.
It's in the description, yeah. I'll make sure that it's there for them to access. I'll update that and make sure that that's in the description. But it's basically, it's the title of the show, Shed Your Shackles Without the Faces.com.
Yeah, and I look forward to speaking with many of you. Thank you so much, Beverly, for having me.
Thank you for being here, and everyone, thank you for listening today. And I want to invite you to go to Karen's site. Also, I offer that, and also offer a 30-minute free consultation, and you can get your free Silva course by going to the location. So I just want to say again to Karen, thank you for being here, and everyone, thank you for listening.
Thanks, Beverly.
Thank you for listening today. I hope that what we shared with you today is a blessing to you. Don't forget, you can receive a free Silva Ultramind ESP System mini course valued at over $100 and start using the Silva Ultramind system today to help you make the rest of your life the best of your life. To get the free course, go to silverfox.silvacourses.com. That's silverfox.silva, courses.com. Click on the newsletter link on the left side of the page and follow the instructions. If you have any suggestions for the show, send them to me at Beverly@commandingyourlife.com. And don't forget, I have a free twice-monthly Commanding Your Life telecircle on the first and third Thursdays. You get the opportunity to learn more, to ask questions, and to become engaged. So more information on the circle can be found at meetup.commandingyourlife.com. That's meetup.commandingyourlife.com. Or go to commandingyourlife.com and look at events. Join me next week for another exciting and interesting topic or guest. Matthew 9:29 says, "As you have believed, let it be done to you." And it is so.